Hey everyone, back for another building block daily. Gatecrash has just been released. It's been like, let's see, today's the Sunday. It's the Pro Tour Sunday of release day, so release week, I guess. So this is the first week that the cards have been out. So there's been like 3 dailies that have been recorded, not fired, but like just on the website. So this is what I'm working with now. I played a couple games. I've been working on Boros, so let's go to. This is what I started out with. Because I liked Boros because I wanted to try to beat down. I think the red decks are pretty good right now, and I don't really know. A lot of people are trying to play Obsidian and such, and try to grindy Esper decks, which should die to these red decks. But whenever I play testing, I usually just play against a bunch of Rakdos decks, and it doesn't really show me much. But this is what I started with. I started with a very battalion centered deck where I just wanted to like get out some creatures. Precinct Captain would help with that, and Sunhome Guild Mage, and just like I was basically just trying out a bunch of different cards like Aurelia, and the main thing was just to get a bunch of creatures out, get 3 creatures out in the battalion to death. The problem with this strategy was that if they killed your Precinct Captain, you're massively set behind because it doesn't have haste or anything, so it just died and you couldn't really do anything else. Because your Daring Skyjacks couldn't attack anymore because they wouldn't have flying, and your Boros Elites are 1/1s, so the battalion's like pretty snowbally, but not that resilient to anything. I did like the active treasons, but there were several reasons where I think like Trader's Instinct is better, which is why I'm playing them today. And the Aurelias were too expensive. Like it was sweet when you had 3 creatures out because it just like crushed them. You could play Aurelia as your 3rd creature and attack with a Skyjack and an Elite. Skyjack gets flying, the Elite gets +2/+2, and then you can like Boros Charm to make your double striker indestructible. And then you get to do it all over again because you get the extra battalion trigger. But in the end, it didn't really work out that much. I had a bunch of Skullcracks on the board for the Sphinx's Revelation decks and Spark Troopers for aggressive decks, but I didn't really like this version so much, so I looked at the dailies, and there was a Boros Beta, which is the deck I'm going to be playing today. It's more red focused as opposed to the white focused deck I had, so it's automatically faster since it has Ash Zealot and such, and Shred Freak, haste creatures basically. I did change this a little bit from the deck I looked at. Like the deck I looked at had 4 Skullcracks in the main deck. I don't think that's that useful because against the aggressive decks you don't want to draw Skullcrack. Like it's just a Lava Spike, and Lava Spike's not that good when your creatures are much better in aggressive mirrors than Lava Spikes. Then the burn from Boros Charm is just better than that. So instead of 4 Skullcracks in the main deck, I wanted to try Madcap Skills, which is a card I quite like. Enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and can't be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So it's already like a Lava Spike, except for if they don't remove your creature, it gives evasion first off. And then if they don't remove your creature, you get to keep adding on the damage, like every other enchantment aura that exists. But mainly it makes your guy harder to block, which is why I'm playing it. And I'm only playing 2 right now because I don't know how good it is. I don't have much removals in the format right now. There could be like a ton, and I'm just not able to effectively utilize my Madcap skills because it's not like any of my guys have hexproof, like Innistrad Block Constructed. You could just play the Invisible Stalker decks and just slap on all your Fur of the Vittens or whatever, and they would never be able to get rid of your Invisible Stalker. But that is not the case, because the most resilient creature I have in this deck is Boros Record, which still dies to Egyptian Sphere. And obviously, I guess I'll just talk about the spells first since I've already started. I've got 2 Trader's Instinct for replacing Active Treason because I'm actually just not sure what's better. Active Treason's good in that it costs less, so you can Active Treason and then Boros Charm to give the guy double strike if it's their last guy. But usually that's not too relevant, since in order for Boros Charm to deal more damage with double strike than it would with just the Flame Javelin mode, they have to have more than 4 power. And with Active Treason you couldn't really get that. So Trader's Instinct is a little better just on the front end because it gives you the creature +2/+0, which also makes the double strike thing better. It doesn't come up as much, obviously, because Boros Charm probably just kills them once you've cast Trader's Instinct anyway, regardless of the mode. But I think Trader's Instinct's a little better in this kind of deck. where you're gonna hit the 4th land. You get the +2 is more relevant than the cheaper mana cost. And obviously 4 Boros Charm, because Boros Charm is insane. It javelins them, it protects your creatures, actually all your permanents I guess, from Wrath, makes them indestructible, and it can give something double strike, which doesn't come up that often, because again, the Flame Javelin mode usually just covers that. But sometimes if you give a Spark Trooper double strike, it's very large. Hard to lose that game. But let's worry about the creatures now. I'll move this to the side. So for 1-drops, I have Foundry Denizen, which is a 1-drop goblin. I have to read this card because it's not a card I even see that much in draft. So whenever you play a red creature, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And that works for the tokens from Sunholm Guildmage too. So I wasn't initially impressed with this card, but it actually racks up the damage pretty well, because it's the only really other 1-drop red creature that can have 2 power on turn 2. On turn 2. So the Rakdos Cackler is the other one. Obviously, oops, just took a Cackler out of my deck. It's obviously just the Unleash 1/1 we all know and love. But Foundry Denizen is good, because it's also good for those draws where you go turn 1 Foundry Denizen, turn 2 Foundry Denizen Cackler, and you swing for 3, which is more than a Cackler. So I actually like Foundry Street Denizen. Foundry Street Denizen. You're gonna have to forgive me for the names, because I'm not that familiar with the set yet. It's only been out for a week now, so I'm gonna stumble a little bit. Ash Zealots, for the main thing is you want to kill them as quick as possible. That's why I have Ash Zealots and Shred Freaks, because haste creatures with 2 power are pretty good. That way you can play your Denizen and then your Ash Zealot and swing for 4, or your Cackler or whatever, and you can just keep piling on the damage, not give them a chance to relax. So, I mean, that's fairly standard. I have 1 Firefist Striker. These used to be something else. And the deck, this is a modified version of the deck that top 8'd a daily, or not top 8'd a daily, but 4-0'd a daily? Might have been 3-1, I don't remember. This was a frontline medic, so it would be right here, the 3/3 battalion indestructible thing. But frontline medic's not actually that useful, because the X spells, it's only a 1-of. So when you draw it, it doesn't do that much. It's just a 3/3/3, and it slows down their Sphinx's Revelation slightly. But since it's a 1-of, you can't really rely on slowing down their Sphinx's Revelation, so it doesn't really even do that very much. So instead, I'm playing a Firefish Striker, which is a concession to I'm not sure if I want another Madcap skills. Firefish Striker is just a creature that can give my guys unblockability. That's why I'm playing him. And Sunholm Guildmage. You saw in the other deck I was playing True Fire Paladin, which is this card. It's a 2/2 Vigilance that can give itself +2/+0 on first strike. And that was good just to have a mana sink. But in this deck, since I'm playing so many smaller creatures like these Foundry Denizens and the Shred Freaks and such, the what's it called? Trumpet Sound or whatever? The +1/+0 mode on Sunholm Guildmage is more useful than the True Fire Paladin's self pump. And also the creature tokens are pretty good too, because they pump up Foundry Denizen. And if you only have 1 creature, if you only have the Sunholm Guildmage, it lets you build up your board a little bit better. Obviously, Boros Reckoner, probably the main reason to play this colors. Makes it really hard to lose creature mirrors. They have to remove it right away. Yeah. The only card, I talked about Spark Trooper earlier. Basically, it's just in here against aggro decks. Against Rakdos, you play your Spark Trooper, you attack for 6, and that's a 12-point life swing. It's very hard for them to come back from, because you're still racing them, because they can't afford to spend that much removal on all your bad creatures. They don't have a Wrath or anything, they have to all have a 1/1 removal. So once they tap out, you just hit them for 6, and you gain 6 life. So their creatures are on a slower clock now, and yours are on a faster clock. That's how lifelink works. You're already first. So you just win the race that way with Spark Trooper. Fireman Avenger, I'm not sure of. There used to be 2 in this deck. I took one out for some other card. I'm not even sure what it was. I think it was a 4th Foundry Denizen. There was initially only 3, and I like the card so much that I wanted to play a 4th one. But I haven't drawn this card yet. There's only 2 of them, so I don't even know what it's good or bad against. I assume it's good against aggro. It's okay against control. I don't know. It's just a 3/3 flyer that can lightning helix things. So it gives you a little extra bit of damage. There used to be some more on the board, but since I don't know how good it is, honestly the board's a little iffy. Like, I have more Spark Troopers in here for Rakdos, because I don't want to lose to the aggro decks. It's my #1 goal. And I have more Madcap skills, mainly for if I find out they're good mid-daily, I can pour them in. This is mostly for Jund, like any Locksmith Smiter type of deck, or what's it called, the 5/5. I can't remember what the cards from last set were called. The 5/5 with Scavenge, Deadbridge Goliath? Yeah, that one. Like a Scavenge deck that plays a bunch of big creatures and doesn't have that much removal. You can just hit them for 5 a couple times, it's good enough. Skullcrack, obviously, for the aforementioned Sphinx's Revelations. Also, for the Sphinx's Revelation decks are Symbol of the Legion, because I wanted a threat that could survive Wrath. And a lot of them aren't playing mini Detention Spheres, so if this card is really, really, really slow, it's good against Angel Serenity and Wrath, because it doesn't lose the counters. Like, it doesn't just put 1/1 into play every turn. It's additive, so it'll put 1/1/1, then 2/1/1s, then 3/1/1s, and so on. So I've only drawn it once against a control deck, and it won me the game, but that's only once. So I'm still testing these. I don't know if it's better than just some more aggro creatures, which is why I have Firefist Strikers for any removal light decks, like any Wrath light decks that are slow. I can just Firefist Striker them down. And the deck I looked at, these were Bomber Cores, which is a 1/2 with Battalion that can ping something when it Battalion triggers, which seemed just worse than Firefist Striker to me, because I wouldn't know why I wanted to ping something when I could just make a guy unable to block. And the Mizzing Wars is the only card I haven't talked about. There's just an extra removal spell in case you need to bring one in. So that's where I'm at today. I'm going to go in the daily now. It actually starts a while from now, so I might have forgotten what my strategy was by the time we actually get to play round 1. But that's it. I'll see y'all guys in round 1.